welcome or welcome back to my channel. I can say that now because this is my second video on this channel, and if you are returning from the last one, I appreciate you coming back. But if you are new here, my name is Cassidy. I am an aspiring author, and my work in progress is a second chance romance with elements of mystery and suspense. In my last video, I wasn't sure how to categorize it yet, so I just kept saying romance with a subplot of mystery, thriller, and suspense, but we are knocking off thriller. I've decided I am just gonna say it's a subplot of suspense and mystery for now, and then we'll see where we get in the future. I refer to that project as Project Miles, and I'm really excited about it. So in today's video, we are actually gonna be trying out LJ Smith's writing routine. You probably already know who LJ Smith is, and if you don't, but you definitely know some of her work. She's the author of The Vampire Diaries, and she also is the author of The Secret Circle. Now, she is just iconic. She created a generation's comfort show. I know every fall I love to watch The Vampire Diaries, which is exactly why we are also going to be treating this video as pretending like it's fall 2009, because The Vampire Diaries released in September of 2009, I believe, and I love fall. So I've got my shirt on that I feel like gives Elena Gilbert. I feel like she was always wearing these type of tops, and then I remember in the first episode of The Vampire Diaries, she was wearing hoops with her outfit, so I put on hoops. Hers were a little bigger. I don't know if you can even tell. Hers were a little bigger, but it is a Monday night and I'm not leaving my house, so we're just rocking with these for the purpose of pretending like it's fall 2009 and I am in my Elena Gilbert era. I've seen a few different creators do these trying out certain authors' writing routines videos. I recently saw Brielle Wrights do it. I love her channel. She's actually an inspiration for why I even wanted to start an author tube, so full credit to her for this idea. And then I also saw another creator do a pretending like it's fall 2011 type video, I think is what it was called, and I really enjoyed that video and the nostalgia of it, so I decided that I would just combine the two and try out LJ Smith's writing routine while also pretending like it's fall 2009. And unfortunately, LJ Smith did pass away earlier this year, so I do this with so much respect for her and what she created. May she rest in peace, and seriously, such a heartfelt thank you to LJ Smith for creating some of my favorite characters of all time, and I know a lot of people also feel the same way, that The Vampire Diaries is a comfort show to them. So truly, truly so much respect to her and what she was able to accomplish in her life. So in my research, I will say there wasn't a ton of information about her writing routine, but I did find some notable interviews where she gave some writing advice and a little bit about her writing routine. So I'm gonna follow that. The Vampire Diaries novels were released in the 90s, and then the show obviously came out in 2009. So a lot of the articles I found and a lot of the interviews I found were from 2009 or around that time era. So it felt like I opened up a time capsule, and I will link all my resources down below. The number one piece of advice that I saw in a few different LJ Smith interviews was to just write something every single day. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's even for the project that you are working on. If it's writing in your journal, writing a blog, or even writing an idea on a sticky note, just write something every single day, because it helps to form a habit and improve your writing skills. And this is actually a great piece of advice for me, because I feel like I kind of already do this. Another thing that factored into her writing routine and writing journey was to also be a reader, which obviously there is a strong connection between being a writer and being a reader. I feel like you can't be a writer if you're not a reader. Reading only makes you a better writer. I absolutely love to read, and I am actually reading 3 books right now because I'm crazy. So we will be reading at least one of those books. And then the last thing I could find about her writing routine, writing process, is that she likes to listen to music when she writes, because who doesn't? And in this interview specifically, she said that she really likes to listen to Avril Lavigne's music that she did for the Alice in Wonderland movie. I'm not too familiar with that music. I love Avril Lavigne, but I'm not too familiar with the music she made for that movie, so I definitely will be checking that out while I'm writing later. And she also listens to music by John Williams, which I am also not very familiar with him, but it looks like he's done a lot of music for very popular movies like Star Wars, Jurassic Park, so we'll definitely be giving that a chance. I've actually never written to instrumental music. I usually only like to do music with words, but I feel like that kind of distracts me a bit. So I'm interested to see how I will do with just instrumental music. And she also loves Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield, which same. So those are the pieces of LJ Smith's writing routine that I want to trickle into my writing routine over the course of this video. I am sure she had many other tips and tricks and things she liked to incorporate into her routine, but that was all I could find on the internet. I'm very interested to see how this will work out for me. So with that being said, let's get into LJ Smith's writing routine. Now I'm currently cooking dinner before I get started on my activities of following LJ Smith's writing routine. But to get into the fall 2009 spirit, I am listening to this early 2000s fall vibes, and a lot of Avril Lavigne is on it. So naturally I'm listening to Avril Lavigne because LJ Smith mentioned that she likes to listen to Avril Lavigne while she's writing, so I figured it fit. To start my night of following LJ Smith's writing routine, I'm actually going to read while I eat because I always have to have some sort of stimulation while I eat. I can't just eat in silence. I either need to be watching a video, watching TV, or reading something. It's honestly a problem. And funny enough, I am actually reading a book about vampires and dragons. It's called On Wings of Blood by Briar Bowlen. I'm pretty sure it's on the New York Times best-selling list. I don't know if it just came out or if there is a lot of recent hype around it, but it has a lot of hype on like TikTok and stuff, so I wanted to check it out. I am only 41% in, but so far I'm really enjoying it. It is a romantasy. It's very slow burn. I think I'm on page 212, and the two main characters, Medra and Blake, oh my gosh, I can't remember what his name is. This is my problem. I forget. I read books and I love them so much, and then I just forget the main characters' names. Like, do I really love it that much if I forget? But anyways, I'm pretty sure his name is Blake though. Like, Medra and Blake have only had a few interactions so far. I'm also really bad at explaining books, but I'm going to explain this one to you because I think it's pretty good. It's about this girl, Medra, who wakes up and she's basically in this new world, and this guy named Blake brought her to that world, and this world is full of vampires where she is not a vampire. She is half fae, as she keeps saying, and she looks nothing like them. And the lord of this world, or this house, he actually binds Medra to Blake, the one who brought her over to this world, and she becomes his consort. And it kind of gives enemies to lovers. Like, they don't truly hate each other, I don't think, but there is tension between them and dislike between them. It's really good. I cannot wait for her and Blake to have more scenes together, because one thing about me, and I know I've said it already, I love romance, but I also love a slow burn and yearning and tension. So when it's a slow burn and it's good romance, which I've heard this book has good romance, it's gonna do it for me every time. I was able to read one chapter while I ate my dinner, and oh my god, it was so good. It was like, it definitely felt like a pivotal point for the story. I won't give away any spoilers in case you want to read it, but there was a knife to the throat scene, and it's so funny because in my last video I said I know my romantasy girls love that scene and that trope, and it just happened in this book, and Blake was showing some possessiveness over Medra. Now, continue the night and the fall 2009 vibes. I am going to make these Pillsbury sugar cookies. I feel like, one, these are such a staple of fall and the holidays, and two, they are also very nostalgic for me. I used to love these as a kid, and I still do. I was only 9 years old in 2009, so these definitely bring me back to my childhood. I was probably way too young to be watching The Vampire Diaries and Twilight, but that didn't stop me. I was a Team Damon girl and I was a Team Jacob girl. Now I probably wouldn't be Team Jacob, because now that I'm older, I realized he's kind of a weirdo, but I think I'm still a Team Damon girl. Elena and Damon are just one of my favorite fictional couples ever, and I feel like I pull a lot of inspiration from them into my own writing. Team Delena. now while the cookies are in the oven, I am going to pull up my manuscript and start writing, or at least thinking about what I want to write. If you haven't seen my last video yet, definitely go check it out. But just to give you a little bit of background on Project Miles, I've always been a pantser with all the other stories I've written before, but with Project Miles, I wanted to take a new approach. I wanted to actually try outlining because that is the #1 piece of advice writers give. And I began to outline the book. Like I said, it is a second chance romance, so there is going to be 2 different timelines. It is going to be told in the linear timeline, so we'll kind of see it collectively instead of going back and forth like I feel most second chance romances do. But in the outline, I only plotted the first half of the book, so when we're in one timeline, and I got too excited and I just started writing. But then I got kind of towards the end of the first part of the book and I didn't have an outline for the second part of the book, and already I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where this is going. So took a step back, filmed that video, and outlined the second part of the book. And I definitely am not ready to start writing part 2 yet, I don't think. There's definitely still some things I want to do in part 1 before I can move on, because I don't feel like I've flushed out the story enough yet. So I'm still drafting part 1, and hopefully we'll get to part 2. Part 1 is set in one timeline, like I've already said. Our 2 main characters are 16 years old, 16 and 17, and they are in high school. And it's told from both their point of views, so we are seeing their journey from how they met and what they are going through together. And it's pretty heavy stuff, so I just want to make sure that I detail everything correctly and I explain everything correctly, because I feel like when I am writing, I tend to take this approach where I just write and I don't go back, which I think is very helpful to advance the story. But I want to be able to do my idea justice and convey the emotion of the story and what my characters are going through. And I don't normally like to go back to chapters while I'm still writing, so I don't think I am going to do that necessarily, but I definitely want to pay close attention to the words I'm writing instead of just going. And I don't really know where I was going with that or why I started talking about that, but yeah. I am being a little vague because I don't know what I want to share just yet, because this book is definitely still in the early phases and things could change, and most definitely will change. This is only draft 1, so once I finish draft 1, I am going to revise it, and by the end of draft 2, it will probably be a whole different book. But I am so excited for that journey. I can't wait to see where I go with this book, how it ends, and everything in between. I'm gonna let these cool off and I'm going to start writing. I think I'm gonna do a 1-hour writing sprint. I'm not sure if I'll have time for anything more than that, but a 1-hour writing sprint is enough time for me to get a good chunk of words on paper. So I'm confident that I can at least almost finish the chapter. LJ Smith's advice was to write every day, no matter what it is. And today my writing will be in my manuscript. And while I write, I am going to listen to what LJ Smith liked to listen to, which is Avril Lavigne's music for the Alice in Wonderland music. I'm actually gonna look that up now. I'm only seeing one song of hers pop up for the Alice in Wonderland movie, so I'm gonna listen to that one, and then I'll probably just listen to John Williams, the instrumental music, while I write. I'm going to set my timer, listen to my music, and start writing. Does anyone else's brain just completely stop working when you are trying to describe something so simple? Like, this is my most recent Google search. What is that piece called that you pull on to get out of the car? Obviously the door handle. I just got done with my 1 hour writing sprint and I think it went really well. I actually had on Vampire Diaries ambiance in the background, a video I found on YouTube. It's literally just Elena Gilbert's bedroom. Is that weird? I don't know, but it's cozy and something about this room feels very familiar and safe to me, as weird as that sounds. I think my writing sprint went really well. I actually did 163 words, and if you watched my last vlog, I did 167 words in a 1 hour writing sprint. So I think this might just be my average for 1 hour writing sprints, which I think is pretty good. I started writing at a new chapter, so it was a completely blank page, and I always feel like it's a little harder to start from nothing. So I definitely just stared at the page and kept erasing things for a little bit, but once I got past the first paragraph, then things kind of started flowing. I did listen to the Avril Lavigne song from Alice in Wonderland that LJ Smith mentioned in an interview, and to be honest, it was very distracting. And I think that's why it was kind of hard for me to start writing at the beginning. But once I switched over to the John Williams music, then things really started flowing. I felt like I was in the zone. Earlier in this video, I said that I don't normally write to instrumental music, but I think I'm gonna start doing that. Also, I feel stupid for saying I'm not familiar with John Williams music at the beginning of this video as well, because I definitely am. I recognized so many of the songs that were playing. Don't mind me just not knowing an iconic artist. It was definitely a little like tense music and like high stakes music. He composes a lot for like Star Wars and Jurassic Park, so it felt like it was a little too intense for my genre of writing, but it was perfect timing for the chapter I was writing to be listening to this music, because it was a bit of a more tense chapter. So it definitely helped with getting words on the page, I will say that. So thank you, LJ Smith, for helping me find out I actually really like writing to instrumental music. In case anyone is curious, this is my Elena Gilbert coded writing outfit. Literally just a Henley top and sweatpants. Now for the rest of the night, I am just going to continue reading my book and watching a little bit of the Vampire Diaries naturally. Good morning. It is so dark out. It is currently 5:30 in the morning, and I am continuing my pretending like it's fall 2009 and going to get a pumpkin spice latte before I go to work this morning. I do have to go into the office today, so this is kind of my way of romanticizing it, and I am literally wearing another Henley top today. You can't really tell, but I did take a clip of it in the mirror, but it was also dark in the room. It's just dark. This is the one thing about fall that I don't like. Okay, it's finally light outside, so I feel like I can actually talk to the camera. I got my pumpkin spice latte this morning. And on the way to work, I took LJ Smith's advice of just reading something every day. And I'm listening to this audiobook, If It Makes You Happy. I'm pretty sure it's a new release. It's really good so far. I'm on chapter 17. It's set in the fall, and it's actually set in the 90s. So it's very nostalgic, very cozy and comfy. And it is a single dad trope, and his relationship with his daughters, it makes me smile to myself while I'm driving. And I know people have opinions on if an audiobook is considered reading. I think it is. It's helpful for people who have busy lives, and it keeps me entertained on my commute. So I am counting that as my reading for the day. And then LJ Smith also advises to just write something every day, no matter what it is. So I do have 15 minutes before I have to head into work. That's not enough time for me to actually get some writing in my manuscript done, But I am going to work on my character storyboard that I showed in the last vlog that I have on my Notion. I'm going to do that on my phone. I'm probably going to add to the Miles character storyboard, and we'll see how far that gets me. Hi friends, I just got back from work, and before I finish off this video, I did want to chat a little bit about how I felt writing LJ Smith's writing routine. And I will say, me and LJ Smith have a pretty similar writing routine, so this was actually very easy for me and enjoyable. The 3 pieces of advice or of LJ Smith's writing routine that I could find on the internet was 1, to read. If you are a writer, you have to be a reader. I feel like you can't have one without the other. That's just my opinion. And reading is something I love to do. I love to read a little bit every single day, even if it's just 5 pages. I love to get in some reading, especially before bed. I like to draw inspiration from other authors, and I'm not saying I like to steal their ideas or anything. I'm saying that I like to pay attention to the way they describe things and the way they word things, and use that to help me, because I'm always trying to be a better writer. The second piece of advice from LJ Smith, or something that is part of her routine, is to write every day, no matter what it is. Just write. It could be in your journal, it could be in your manuscript, it could be on a sticky note. It does not matter. Just write every single day. And again, I already do this, and I 100% agree with that advice. And usually I try to write every day in my manuscript. I don't really have other outlets of writing. And I feel like it helps me stay in the story and kind of stay in the mind of my characters. If I take too many days off or I take a break, I sometimes lose that momentum, and it's really hard for me to get back into it. And then that's when the writer's block hits, and nobody likes writer's block. We don't want her here. She can stay away. And then the third part and last part of LJ Smith's routine is to listen to music, which I'd be interested to know if there are any writers out there who don't listen to music while they write. I feel like that just helps add to the experience of writing and can really be effective for the way you write a scene. Like if you are writing a battle scene and you are listening to Star Wars music like LJ Smith does, then I feel like that just helps elevate the scene. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but in my experience, I feel like when I am listening to good music, my fingers just do not stop typing. I am not in control. Jesus is taking the wheel. LJ Smith said that she loves to listen to Avril Lavigne, Natasha Bedingfield, and John Williams. And I too love Avril Lavigne and Natasha Bedingfield. Avril Lavigne, a couple of her songs are actually on my writing playlist, like the emo ones from the early 2000s. Those just hit. One thing that was new for me is I don't normally ever write to instrumental music, and LJ Smith did, and she would listen to John Williams, who is a popular composer. And I found that it's actually very enjoyable to write to instrumental music. I had never done that before, but I feel like it really helped me get in the zone and kind of shut off my mind and just focus on the manuscript and the world that I'm writing. Sometimes when it's music with lyrics, I can often get distracted and just start singing along to the song. So I think I'm definitely going to start incorporating that into my routine. This was actually a very fun experiment. I don't know if that's the right word, but this was very fun, and I would definitely do this again. It for sure keeps things interesting and switches things up instead of doing the same old regular routine, which I am a creature of habit, but sometimes it is nice to switch it up. And it was also kind of fun to pretend like it's 2009 while I did this, because LJ Smith wrote The Vampire Diaries, which obviously was huge in 2009, so it was kind of fun to just revert back to that nostalgia and have fun treats and listen to old music and drink pumpkin spice lattes. It was very fun. And if you stayed until the end, comment the emoji with the hand and the pen that's writing. That was a terrible explanation, but you'll see it on the screen. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I would greatly appreciate if you would subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!